back to another episode of The Inside. Extremely excited today to have Mike Rovito from Dwelo join me. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Lee?
Can't complain. It's a good day. Everything's moving right along. So, well, I appreciate you making the time and sharing your story with us. It's, we've kind of known each other throughout the years and of each other, if you would, and we had a chance to catch up the other day, and pretty excited about everything that you've all done. And you've been one of those companies that's been there, seen that, done that, and is actually continuing to grow and to do. And so I thought it'd be great to have you come on and share a little bit about, who is Dwelo and who do you cover? What do you go after? Where are you looking to grow? How do you see the marketplace, since you're very much involved in right now? If anybody tells you they know the marketplace from that's not doing it, then they're somewhat, full of it. But you actually feet on the street. So if you would, though, let's kick it off with just introduce yourself, the company, get to know you a little bit.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on, Lee. Excited to be here. You're a follower of everything you're doing. Love your insights. In my inbox. Subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't. Dwelo is the #1 provider of smart apartment technology for mid-market retrofits. I define mid-market as 1,000 to 20,000 unit portfolios, which have a different set of needs than the biggest guys and obviously the smallest things. And retrofits is a particular segment, of course, with a lot of the attention so far paid to new construction. I'm the CEO of the company. We've been doing this since 2015. And I think actually our sort of calling card, as I just described it, is a little bit of a function of how we got started in this. So like a lot of players in the market, started with smart home for apartments, lights, locks, thermostats, et cetera. Saw pretty early on the opportunity for operational benefits from the same infrastructure investments for our customers. We now have a complete community-wide access solution to lock every door. We have a self-touring solution, a utility management solution. So there's a lot of operational benefits as well. But where we started was, me, David, Eric, my co-founders, just rolling around in the Utah market, which is, secondary market, going to garden style assets, doing installs, with our own two hands. And I think that taught us a lot about that market. We built a company for those units, which it turns out represent the vast majority, in fact, of the sort of professionally managed market rate apartment market, over 10 million units that are in that segment. And we sort of played there all along. Unlike maybe some of the other players in the space who come from a different background, they're doing gleaming high rises in Manhattan, or they have really large customers because those customers are investors and, or LPs in their investor. And so that history is actually sort of why we focus the way we do and do what we do the way we do it.
Wonderful. Yeah. And it's like you said, I think the interesting part, something that we've been talking about, and I know you and we sort of aligned on the last time we spoke, was this idea of the market has been forever really tracked new constructions. And as new constructions go down, it'll be interesting to see what people do, which is going to need to go get retrofit. But from everything I understand, and maybe you can speak to it, is that's not so easy. It's not like you can just flick and go like, oh, we're going to go do that. There's things that get in the way of going and do that. So can you speak to that market as well as maybe tackle too? You mentioned mid-market. So,
yeah.
A lot of the class A gets a lot of conversations. We're now starting to see people talk a bit more about the B, C, and mid and rest. But so if you could talk a little bit about the market as you see it, and then also the retrofit side.
Yeah. And what's interesting is these segments that I describe actually kind of track together. So an area of the market that's seen just the most activity to date, high-end new construction owned by the biggest owners. And those things tend to go together for obvious reasons. And the value propositions that they need, the channel that comes with new construction, it's just a little bit different. So let's talk specifically first about retrofits versus new construction. So just big picture first, I think it's important to recognize there are 45 million existing units out there in the US, actually probably more than that. And we only deliver about 300,000, I think it's like 329,000 new units a year is the trailing 5-year average. So the new construction market, as attractive as it is from an incremental unit economics, you already have to put in a lock, you might as well put in a smart lock, like those sorts of things. Attractive as it is from the ease of the distribution channel. You just kind of throw a bunch of hardware over the fence to the GC and they can take care of it. It's actually kind of small in the grand scheme of things. Big enough to get off the ground and do $1 billion spec, apparently, but not going to drive growth in the long run. So retrofits, what's different about them first is there isn't really a great built-in channel. So there are dealers, particularly for electronic access control, but as we move to a more broad-based platform, there's a lot of things that those guys don't necessarily know how to do yet. And there's no built-in general contractor. You're doing this on a retrofit basis, so it's popping up in the normal workflow of the operator. That you need to be able to accommodate that. And so we've built technology to facilitate a network of installers, make it so basically anybody can do it, despite the complexities of, is the C-wire pulled and connected and turned on for the thermostat? The door milling might be different and variable, on and on. There's just these little wrinkles that you need to realize in terms of that distribution channel and making sure that the quality stays high. In addition to that, there's a connectivity problem. In new construction, you have the run of the place. You can pull wire, the walls aren't up, it's a lot easier. In existing assets, it's very difficult. You basically can't count on there being internet, so you have to be able to develop your own sort of proprietary connectivity solution and do that in a unit economics that actually makes sense, which is something that we've been able to do. And there are others, but a lot of the competition is in the new construction market for smart technology because you can layer onto a Wi-Fi network that's going in there. Whereas in the existing asset market, first of all, 90+% of the units don't have Cat5 pulled to the units. It's got 10-year internet contracts. It's a real mess. So between the sort of complexity of the actual install, the wiring, all that kind of stuff, the lack of a built-in channel, and the connectivity barriers, there's some significant hurdles that come with doing things in the retrofit market.
Yeah, but with that I guess that fragmentation, though, if you figure out how to do it and you can unlock that, that's, no pun intended, but if you can do that, there's massive opportunity there, and sort of, 45 million sort of targets that you can go after, that if you can figure out that flywheel effect of figuring how to go do that. And I'm guessing so, but talk to me a bit about some of that. So do you do the install? Do you have a channel? Like how do you approach that marketplace, seeing that some of those things aren't there? And then the second part is, I guess, you talk about, maybe not having as many product mixes as you may need for that space. So do you go with brands? Do you have your own? Like, is it a combination of both? Like, how do you approach it?
Good question. So let me separate that, just talk directly to the install question, then we can talk about product mix and how that maps to the space. So on the install front, it is really complex, and it's taken us time actually to build up this channel, for lack of a better word. In the early days, the channel was me and David doing installs. And then we hired guys, brought them under our payroll to do installs. Because it was so complex, we really needed that control. Over time, we've invested in technology that makes that install process seamless, really easy to do, and very high quality, which is, we've been at this for a long time and put a lot of money to that. That has enabled us to effectively create a marketplace where there are installers who can use our technology, go into an asset, follow the built-in steps, and we know they're not going to screw it up and leave behind a bigger problem than the one we found in the first place. And that's easier said than done. But ultimately, yeah, we have essentially certified installers, and we've actually been piloting, and it's been going really well, a program where you can get your maintenance team trained up and certified and using our technology. And that's actually been working really well and opens up some interesting models for owners. When it comes to the actual product, like you were describing, we're an open platform in the sense that we don't build our own hardware. We don't have a lock that we've built or a thermostat that we've built. We do have a proprietary connectivity backbone that we have built, which was necessary to tackle this segment. But we work with industry-leading brands, everything from Nest thermostats, Go Controls, Alarm.com thermostats, Kwikset, Yale, etc., GE, all manner of them. And the interesting thing about that is it enables us to sort of scale the package up, scale the package down. If you're an A-class asset, you really want, soup to nuts, the best things, we can help put that package together for you. If you're a B- asset, C+, and you're interested in operational benefits, you don't necessarily think you're going to get 30, 40, $50 rent premiums, but maybe you can get 15 to 20. Then we can scale that package down. We can go with cheaper locks, cheaper thermostats that get the job done, even if maybe they don't look as fancy or don't offer the same exact functionality, which is, I think, really critical as you move into the mid-market, which also tracks with mid-tier assets in secondary and tertiary markets, where they don't need a $600 lock. They need a $600 package that's going to do everything, and that's what we can deliver.
That makes sense. I can see that. I guess so. What's the sort of like number one killer feature or ask that marketplace has? Is it the lock? Is it the thermostat? Is it the home control? Is it the, what is that killer ask?
Yeah. So the beautiful thing about our platform is it provides several layers of value, and they flow together such that you're able to leverage the investment you're making as an owner in the hardware across multiple value propositions enabled by our software. So I like to say we meet the owner where they're at when they start at the beginning of our funnel and their learning experience. Most of them is the first time they're doing something with smart technology, and they're going to have a problem on their mind. A lot of times it's, hey, I really want to be able to compete. This property coming up across the street has some smart technology. I need smart home for my residents as a marketing asset, as an upsell asset. Others come from an access management perspective. They're tired of the security risks and costs associated with existing access paradigms. Maybe their LPs invested in a different fund that's doing electronic access control, and they need to get in the game. Or maybe they got a $200 utility bill in the vacant unit and utility management is on their mind. I will say at the core, it makes sense all the way down the sort of rent scale to do a lock and a thermostat with, of course, the internet backbone that we provide. And that's going to unlock the vast majority of the value propositions with the ability to tack on like ornaments on a Christmas tree, your leak detection, and so on and so forth, to be able to do things like bolt on or, a self-touring product. If you have the lock, now you can do the self-touring product and get even more value out of it. And usually what we find is that while owners have something in mind when they start this journey, they are, they're smart people. They run the numbers. They can see, and we provide them. They can see that the ROI just gets better and better. And if you're going to take on the sort of operational burden of going through an implementation, you might as well squeeze it for all it's worth.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do think we're seeing that the access control side, just like the thermostat, these utilities, if you would, are sort of like the core functionality of sort of like the table stakes to get people to use it and where value is. And then layering on the value on top of that, since you already have infrastructure in place, and that, like you said, squeezing some of that out. So as a company, is there anything you're looking for? Are you looking for more deals? I'm sure you're looking for more customers. Everybody is. But so you could throw that in. But on top of that, is there anything else that you're looking for at this point?
Yeah, we see opportunities like just continuing in the vein of that last set of commentary around layered value propositions. We're seeing opportunities to, and I should say our customers are asking us for new products, new value propositions around data and package management, and even going so far as I'm wanting for us to be their internet provider, of a managed Wi-Fi service and so on and so forth. And so we always love and are looking for customers who are willing to push the envelope with us, extract more value, bring more ideas to the table on how to get more out of the system. And we're eager to go build that. And that's something that's sort of on our mind these days. We're definitely in a platform broadening mode and looking for those next great opportunities to drive more value for our customers.
I love it. So if I'm a mid-market player, I'm sure you'll take the major market class A too. But if I'm a mid-market, retrofit looking to put some technology, where's the best place to go to find out more information and get a hold of you?
Yeah, and I should clarify, although we are number one, twice as big as the next in this mid-market retrofit segment, We do a lot of new construction.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time.
Yeah, for the listeners at home, we do lots of new construction. We have plenty of top 50 ownership groups and management groups, and we love working with them. We just find that mid-market folks need a little something extra. They don't have the CTO, CIO. And so if you're a mid-market owner, you got 10,000 units, 5,000 units, and you're looking at this and going, man, I'd really love to take this on, but it seems really daunting. I don't have a huge project management staff. I don't have a CTO or CIO to go through. Like, we're here for you. We've built our entire sales process, the educational component, the consultative sales component of it, to meet the needs of those owners. So you got one hand to shake. That's our motto. We're going to be able to take care of the full range of smart technology needs for your communities. And that's really our mission. So if you are one of those folks, reach out on our website. We got a little form. We'll hit you up. We'll listen, see where you're at, what your problems are, and construct a solution that meets your needs. And we always say we're more steak than sizzle. So we're going to put together a package that's all about driving NOI, not about making you feel the warm and fuzzies about technology. It's about making you feel warm and fuzzies about your ROI.
Oh, and that's fair. And I mean, part of the reason why I bring up that specific market, I think it's a huge market that's underserved. Again, it doesn't get, like you said, the sizzle a lot from sort of press releases and whatnot, but it's definitely an area in the marketplace that it needs the technology. The same reasons why you want a Class A, it could be used in Class B, so and C and whatever. It's just not an area that people focus on as much. And so knowing there's a service is great.
It makes total sense too. I think this is the normal evolution of markets. You start with the sort of innovators, and that's going to be people who are being driven by super high-end rents. The residents are demanding like the craziest stuff that maybe doesn't pencil in a mid-market solution, but actually operationally, smart technology can drive real operational efficiencies for those mid-market assets and those mid-market owners. And in some cases, they need it more, right? Like a B-class asset probably has fewer staff, right? It has less money to burn. Your margins are a little tighter. You got to run a little leaner, a little more, be a little more efficient. And that's what smart technology can do for those owners. So in some sense, I think, smart home brought smart technology to the party and as a platform in any event, multi-device. Obviously, electronic access control have been doing a version of this for a long time, but I think smart home was the lead. That was the hook for a lot of owners, for the industry. But that's given us and some competitors a foothold to learn, develop, innovate, iterate, and create a more complete solution that speaks to a much wider range of needs. And I think we're now entering an era, particularly post-COVID, where a lot of owners were forced to take risks, do things like self-touring they would not have otherwise done. And they did it, and they thought, wow, that was great, actually. I closed more leases with fewer staff on site. There's examples of that kind of efficiency all across the property when you bring smart technology to bear.
Yeah, well said. Well, Mike, thank you very much for taking the time, sharing your story, the area that you fit, and really the solution that you bring to the market. So again, I feel like we could probably talk about this for hours, but I appreciate you making the time, sharing your story, and letting everyone know what you're doing. So thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Love what you do. Keep it up.
No, I appreciate the support. Thank you.